Real Estate Investor Visa in Florianópolis. Requirements, numbers, and the money trail that matters. I'm Luciano Oliveira, Managing Partner of Oliveira Lawyers, and I'm here in Florianópolis, Santa Catarina. If you are planning to buy property here and you want that purchase to support a long-term legal stay in Brazil, you need to understand what the Real Estate Investor Residence Permit actually is and what is not. Remember, this is general information only, not legal advice, not tax advice. First, the myth. If I buy any apartment in Florianópolis, I will get a visa. No, Brazil has a specific residence permit based on urban real estate investment, and it has minimum investment values along with formal requirements for the property and the money remittance. In the south and southeast of Brazil, the minimum is typically 1 million reais in urban real estate. There is a lower threshold used in the north and the northeast, but Florianópolis is not in the region, so for Florianópolis you should plan around the 1 million reais level and up. Another important point, the property can be ready or under construction as long as you satisfy in full the applicable document requirements. So an off-plan purchase can work, but the documentation must match the category and your investment must have already exceeded the minimum amount. Now, let's talk about what actually gets people approved. It's not just the property, it is the documentation that connects. Number one, you. Number two, the money invested. Number three, the property. And 4, the registration. Brazil requires a credible paper trail that the funds came in cleanly and that the investment exists in urban real estate in your name. And it is typically handled by the Brazilian immigration through a rigid checklist. So creative explanations why your paperwork is not completely compliant will typically fail. In practice, your money trail should include, among other things, bank statements showing the funds in the bank of origin, currency exchange contract issued and signed by the Brazilian receiving bank confirming that the money was transferred, and the real estate document showing acquisition and registration with your name in the chain of ownership. This requirement should make it easy for everyone to understand that those weird possession-only properties somewhat common in Florianópolis, meaning no actual matricula or RDI, are horrible choices for foreign citizens to purchase. Filing strategy matters too. If you apply from outside Brazil, plan on presenting a complete consular filing package, and yes, health insurance is typically part of a filing package when you are applying from abroad. Not travel insurance, it must be real health insurance. If you apply while you are physically in Brazil, remember this: foreign documents will need translation to Portuguese, with the main ones requiring a sworn translation. Apostilles prior to the translation are typically required for the birth certificate showing your parents' names and your background check. In the US, it must be done by the FBI. Now, a few practical pitfalls I see all the time with investor cases in Florianópolis and Santa Catarina in general. 1. People sign a contract first and only later ask if it qualifies for immigration. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. The safest approach is to design the deal around the immigration goal from the beginning. 2. People underestimate the total investment value because of how the deal is structured. You want the final documented investment to clearly meet the threshold with no confusion. And remember, if you're buying in multiple people, each person individually would have to meet the minimum requirement. 3. People skip foundational documents. I recommend an apostilled birth certificate for all applicants in Brazil. It keeps you from getting stuck later. 4. Criminal record certificates go stale fast. Keep them under 90 days at filing, preferably much fresher. After approval, you will still need to register with the federal police and obtain your CRNM card. That's the part that turns your status into an actual ID you can use for real life. One last reminder, immigration status doesn't typically avoid tax obligations. A residence permit is not a tax strategy. Treat tax planning as a separate project. One last point about the application process. While the so-called registration is typically done at the Federal Police Station located on the ground floor of the Floripa Mall in Saco Grande, the whole application is done via an online system known as Migrant Web, no matter if you are applying in Brazil or abroad. Also note that some older resources list the Federal Police Station in Agronômica. The Agronômica station no longer handles immigration procedures for foreign citizens. If you want to learn more about the Brazil Real Estate Investor Visa, check those two resources. Our Ultimate Guide video about the Brazil Real Estate Investor Visa, which is recognized as the most comprehensive source of information out there. Link below. Number 2, our ebook with the main mistakes foreign citizens make when pursuing this visa. Link also in the description below. If you want help structuring your immigration journey and the transaction and the application all under the same roof, if you want help structuring the transaction and the applications all along with your immigration planning, schedule a consultation with Oliveira Lawyers now. Like this video, subscribe, follow us for more content relevant to you.